Well, it happened. Our orb-weaver who laid an egg sac after just 1 or 2 days in our care, they hatched. I don't know the normal period that it takes for an orb-weaver egg sac to hatch, but this one seemed to hatch in less than 2 weeks, unless I got my math wrong somewhere, or was abducted by aliens and have this big part of my memory wiped out and I lost, days or weeks of my life. This hatched in less than 2 weeks. If you remember from the original video where I showed that she laid the egg sac, one of the surprising features of that is they were so dark. Normally, a spider egg sac doesn't darken up until it's getting ready to hatch. But this egg sac seemed to be dark almost from day one, or at least from the first day I noticed it. Now, first off, let's get this out of the way. I don't care about this unscheduled hatching of orb weavers. They're harmless. They're everywhere around here, and, they're really harmless. That's not to say an adult or a larger orb weaver, that if it bites you, that you shouldn't be concerned. Their bite is very comparable to a bee sting, but like any spider or bug or bee, you could become allergic to it and have an allergic reaction without ever knowing you were allergic, or you could be perfectly fine last week to get bit, and then this week, bam, you suddenly became allergic. So your rule of thumb here is don't get bit and don't get stung if you don't have to. But like I said, these are tiny little spiders. I'm taking care of them as I can. We don't need to go into full detail, but many of them have met their demise between my thumb and forefinger, and the rest have met Mr. Dyson. As to what precautions I took so this wouldn't have happened in the first place, I took the small container the spider was in, I stuck it inside a secondary container, which also had vent holes in it, and then inside of this big tank where I was storing some things. And big tank, I mean 15-gallon habitat with a wire mesh lid that apparently they crawled right through. I was not under any illusion that they couldn't escape the vent holes of the smaller habitat or even the secondary habitat or, even this larger mesh top tank. But what I was surprised by is how quickly they spread out. From when I saw they hatched in that small habitat, I instantly put it into the secondary containment and then that tertiary containment, and by the next day they had spread out and escaped all containment. Was that reckless of me? Well, like I said, these are harmless spiders. If this was a black widow or something I was concerned about, that original small habitat would have been placed in one of those 1-gallon Ziploc baggies. There would have been enough air in there, it would have been perfectly fine. Because as you know, when we normally have a black widow spider hatching or a brown widow spider hatching, we contain them in baggies. We take 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 out, put it in a tiny container. Those are the ones we're going to grow to adulthood, and the rest, well, they get taken care of. In retrospect, I should have placed this small container in a 1-gallon baggie, sealed it up, and did the normal thing that we do with the black widows. Is it a big concern? No, not really. Is it a slight headache and hassle? Well, yes. The next day, they were outside of the containment and on the shelf. The day after that, they were up the wall, and I've even found 1 or 2, 5 or 6 feet away on my computer monitor in my office. Hopefully this will be the last of the unexpected hatchings of my orb weavers. I have 2 more orb weavers in addition to the one that laid this egg sac. I'm interested to discover if an orb weaver is like a black widow, whereas they can lay egg sacs and then just go on with their life. Some spiders lay an egg sac, they wait for the spiderlings to hatch, and then they croak. Hopefully we'll learn if that's the case with these orb weavers. Additionally, I'd like to see if these orb weavers are like black widow spiders in so much as all they have to do is mate once and they can keep laying egg sacs for life. These orb weavers are isolated in their own little habitats, so there is definitely no chance of mating, and we'll see what happens. Alright, that's enough for today. Leave your comments in the comments section. As always, thanks for watching.